Welcome to the GLAC studio. This is Gomathi, Sankaran, founder, CEO of the Guiding Light Art Company, building bright futures through art. Today, in the season 2, 8th episode of the GLAC What Next series, Change Management in Practice, we are going all the way to Singapore to meet the founder of Go Global Business School, Dr.h.c Jalaluddin. Dr. Aziza Jalaluddin. Welcome to the GLACE What Next series, Change Management in Practice. I am so happy to be interviewing you. So proud as a woman also to be interviewing you. There is a lot that I want to explore about you. Your story, when I got to see, it was so inspiring. I wouldn't want to give away much in the start because I think it's your stage for you to tell your story about yourself and what you do. But then one thing I am really amazed is that from a homemaker, transforming yourself into this business professional and leading a business school, this is an amazing, inspiring story for every woman. It's a dream, and I want to understand how this happened. And yes, ma'am, please, if you can just explain about yourself.
Thank you so much. It's such a blessing to be part of this amazing work that you're putting together, Ms. Gomathi. And I'm so happy that we could have this conversation. And
Yeah.
for sure, this shows that you have been running is very inspiring with so many different people from across the world. I think kudos to you to make that happen as
Thank
well.
you.
So congratulations and thank you for inviting me to be part of your show as well.
Thank you.
Yes. So, well, where do I start?
Yeah, I know your story is such a big one. It's going to be hard to summarize in in an hour, I understand. But if you could just open up your background as to where you belong, because I think that itself is an interesting story. You speak so many languages.
I,
So,
I love
and
it when you say the word belong, because
yeah,
one of the most intriguing part of how I get to doing what I'm doing right now is because I grew up with a belief system, or rather a thought in my mind that I don't belong.
oh my God.
Okay, so why did that happen to me? Because of the childhood that was so diverse. My parents came from Nagarkoil, Kanyakumari, Tamil Nadu in India, and settled in Singapore. And I was born, and I am born and brought up in Singapore for all my life. So as I grew up in Singapore, and we are the only family, so we don't have anybody other than my parents and probably a uncle, right? The two families that came to Singapore from all. So I didn't see my grandparents or anybody until much later. That means we grew up alone, like without anybody. So in my mind, that's my family, 5 of us. That's it, right? So you don't have a belonging of a community that many people do. So then, of course, we had friends. Then again, family and friends are a little different. Then came the second part. I was put into a Chinese school by design. I thank Almighty for having been there in a Chinese school. But when I was growing up, I was the only Indian, or sometimes we call the brown skinned people in Singapore because we call the Chinese yellow skinned people. But that is
Wow, really?
it's really can be very weird the way that it's all this is called name calling happens, but that was what it was. And I was the only Indian, and after that my sister joined me, the two of us were the only non-Chinese in the Chinese school for the 6 years of my life. And again, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I am in shock. So yeah, let it go. Let it
Yeah.
go.
So that also gave me, many situations kind of told me I don't belong because I'm the odd one out, right? So
Yeah.
all these odd one out conversations has been very interestingly imbibing in me and asking myself, I don't belong here. So what I did to overcome this I don't belong conversation in my childhood years and growing up, I started showing up everywhere to make myself belong. So I will be with everybody, like, in my college days, in secondary school, I would be with the Chinese speaking community because I speak Chinese. And then I'll
Yeah.
have my own group of friends that I hang out with. So I would make myself feel like I belong everywhere. So this
Okay.
was a very unsaid mechanism for me to make sure that I belong everywhere because I feel I don't belong. You relate to what I'm saying?
I relate to it. I'm still in a state of shock because
So
the first thing people tend to do when they figure out they don't belong to a place is to paint ourselves into a corner.
interesting. So I
Mm,
took the other approach. So this is
yeah.
what we do, the extreme. Like my sister is a very quiet person. She's kind of opposite of me. So
Mm,
I worked on this way of going out there and belonging everywhere. And if you see right now, that has
mm,
actually been a blessing in disguise because right now the work that we do is
yeah.
very much an all-inclusive environment and
Yeah.
going beyond language, race, or religion. Not to forget, not only Tamil and Chinese, I'm
Mm,
also, Singapore born, you can pick up Malay language, the Malay
yeah.
Bahasa, as well as Indonesian. They're all very similar. So I can
Mm,
pass off 80% of Asia, which is
okay.
the China, the India, India is Hindi and a little bit here and there, no problem. And
Mm,
then the Malay and the Indonesia. And of course, in Singapore, we speak all the languages and English.
mm,
So for me, it has been like becoming all inclusive. And so the way that we connected with people was going beyond language. So I have had the experience of being judged, being told that I'm different, and
yeah.
that I have to prove myself. There was one time in my school days in my Chinese school, my teacher told me, and now that I'm mentioning it, it's kind of still hanging in my memory,
Mm,
that she made me stand up in class and she told me, Aziza, this is a Chinese school and we always score 100% mark. We don't
mm.
want it to drop to 99.99 because of you. Better make sure you buck up. So that was me trying to prove myself. So all these things kind of made me show up differently in the world and to say that there's nothing to prove to people. We have to be all inclusive regardless of language. So I kind of garnered it towards a positive effects of all the not belonging stories. This is a very different
Ah,
angle I'm sharing with you today, darling.
yeah.
Nobody else. I've never
I,
shared this angle.
I have to ask, why did your parents choose a Chinese school? Because,
Are you ready to laugh?
yeah,
So
go ahead.
Singapore has this is a little bit of a history of Singapore. We were having like too much of population problem in the 1960s and 70s. So they said nobody should have more than two children. It's a two-child policy, and one of
Okay.
the hindrance is if you have more than two child, your
Mm,
school going to the school's entry, you will be the third, the last part. So if you have one or two children, you are the first to go. The
okay.
rest, so you don't get priority in schools admission. So what
Oh,
happened
Lord.
was we were in a new community. My dad, we bought a house. My dad bought our house in 1970s, and we moved into a new estate where the Tamil school were limited, and
Mm.
because we had three children, we were the last, and we couldn't get a place in a Tamil school, language teaching school. And I want to thank, and that's why I said this two-child policy has been such a blessing for me in my life, because if I had been gone into a Tamil school, I can tell you, you will not see me sitting here with you.
Destiny works in so many mysterious ways. Mm. We
Yes, it
never know that.
yes, it does. Yeah. So that's
This
what it
is
is, and the rest is history. Because when I went into the Chinese school, it was really a Chinese school, as I
mm,
mentioned earlier on. And the principal said, if she doesn't do well,
mm,
we'll move her out. And it didn't happen. And all the way until my college. So I'm an average Singaporean who speaks Chinese. Like average Chinese will
mm.
speak the way that I do. Like really be able to speak Chinese the way that Chinese does.
Wow.
Read and write.
Oh my God. It's the most difficult language as well.
I don't
So
know. Everybody says that, but I don't remember.
you don't know that. I understand your point of view then. Um, so from then on, you are belonging everywhere, you are being everywhere, and so on. How did your life pull on your personal life as well, and how do you come to build this huge empire, if I may
Well,
say so?
thank you, and all praise to Almighty. It is a huge empire in the making.
Mm,
It's still tip of the iceberg as you see it. It's still tip of the iceberg. For
mm,
many people, it's something really huge, and I know it is huge. Like today, I was in an interview. I'm not sure whether you saw it. It was
mm,
like reflecting back. Yup, quite a lot of stuff done. Yet
mm,
it's still the tip of the iceberg. Like what you said, when I'm reflecting back on my life, at
mm,
some point in time, I condoned to the environment and
mm,
say that I belong. And I said, I belong to the Indian culture, the Muslim culture, and this
mm.
is how I'm going to live my life, get married, have children, stay at home, look after my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was me. And even to the extent of becoming what I call a drama serial housewife. You know those? It's all
Yes.
about children and house and drama serial. You know that, lie?
Yes.
Yeah, I
A
was in that
perfect,
space.
yeah, in the space, you produce children, your duty to the community is done, your responsibility as a woman is done.
And then you
Uh,
spend your time watching drama serial.
exactly.
So I was in that space for a while.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? So
Yeah,
that was,
I am unable to imagine. I'm trying my best.
I'll tell you my typical day of that life was I wake up 5 a.m. in the morning, a very dutiful wife, 5 a.m. in the morning, cook for the family, and then, children will be sleeping. And then once they wake up, get them, pray in the morning and all of that. When they wake up, give them food to eat, and bathe them, take care of them, and then watch drama serial for a while they play on their own. And sometimes, and also I spend quite a bit of time playing with them, spending
Mm,
time with them. And then they sleep a morning nap, and then I watch my drama serial, and then they wake up, we have lunch, and
mm,
then we play some more, and then they go to bed, and then for a nap, and then I will watch the drama serial, and then they will wake up. After that, we'll have dinner, play a bit, hang out together, and then they will
mm.
all be put to bed, and I'll watch my drama serial before I go to bed.
Awesome. Blissful life.
You
Why
think
did you
so?
desire? I'm being sarcastic. Um, why did you want to change this, first of all, as from the change management point of view? All women in the world that are watching drama serials would love to know what made you change.
I have to tell you this. When I was going through this momentum, I have to say I enjoyed my life as a homemaker.
Mm,
And I felt that I learned who I am capable of being. And I became an OCD for sure. It was like my children need to have the best, the house
mm,
needs to be spick and span, the
yeah.
organized, even hanging your clothes need to go the same direction.
Mm.
Cannot change the clothes the other way.
Oh, that's a perfect OCD.
Yes, a perfect OCD. So I was all of that, and I was going through this process where one day, as I was, sitting in the playroom with my children, and really looking at my life, and I'm asking myself, what's going to happen to me when my
Mm.
children are grown up? What is Aziza capable of as a human being?
Amazing question. I think every woman needs to ask what is going to happen to me when the children grow up.
And the other more important question
Mm,
is, how am I living my human potential to the max? How am I maximizing my human potential? Not to forget, I was Chinese educated. I can
mhm,
go out there and earn a lot of money, and coming from a corporate background, and
mhm,
also I have all these experiences that is just spent watching drama serial. So I chose to go back to part-time work, and that kind of got me to like really start thinking, and I got connected to learn about entrepreneurship through one of my customer. That's a very interesting dynamics. And then from there, I was put into a program, and the program, they told me one thing: grow yourself to grow your business. So that's when my whole lifelong learning journey started. And I can tell you till now, I'm learning so much. And, I was so excited to meet you because of this change management context you're talking about in these interviews. I'm like, how can I present myself to fit into, or rather to be able to share my life story in the way that you have positioned it? That's a learning for me. And I want to do justice for the interview as well. So yeah, that was my thought pattern to start with.
Amazing. So that's how you got into these training programs. And I did take a look at your, background, doing external studies, banking and finance, at the University of London, and then these training programs, and then you move on to become a doctorate as well.
Yes.
Again, this surprises me because a lot of housewives that are doing this routine of handling the family, managing very well, do try to come out of the routine and do try to do something. And I see them every day around me. They want to try something, even if they want to cook something, let's say for 10 people, and make some packages and sell it of it. They are good. But taking it up seriously, scaling it up, taking it into a big level business, that's a huge task. And I give respect to those who are even trying, at least, that's one thing. But when I see you go on to lead a business school, huh? It's highly exceptional. How did this change happen? What were the challenges across the line?
You want to ask about challenges? Definitely, we're talking about a transitions that kind of evolved my life. So it's like a snowball effect, right? You keep growing, a snowball effect, like keep growing and growing. And it's also like a child. You grow a child, you grow into the work, and then it starts expanding, and then it takes its own life. It's a life of its own. So my journey was a simple, like what you said, trainer. That was where I was, what you just said. So I put my children first, my family first. There was a point 2 times in my life where I said no to opportunities because I had to take care of children, right? So and I told them, no, I can't travel because I have children, I cannot leave. And those were like opportunities. If I've taken them on, maybe I wouldn't be sitting here as well. So those were timely situations that gave me a chance to look at what was my priority. And when I showed up and I said, I want to transit, the most important thing is the commitment to a life bigger than self. To get into that realization, life bigger than self. It's not about me making that money because I want to do my business, and then suddenly I get comfortable because my partner can do it for me. So I'm just in this laid back. Well, my mom used to sew tailoring for neighbors, and she was doing quite well at it, but she didn't continue it because that was not her priority, because she's living a comfortable life. So the same thing is what women shortchange themselves, because if they're going to take life bigger than self, and it's not a wronging anybody, I have to say that everybody have their journey to walk. Just to ask yourself, are you living a life bigger than self? Watching drama serial is fine. Life is full of drama serial. It's not fine. And what else can you do to add value to humanity, to add value to the community? What else can we do to solve a problem that can be of service to others? So these are questions that I started asking myself. I always tell people, if you ask me, and that's what you said, what happened for me to start a business school? And I saw all the gaps, all the problems, And I took on so many of the problems as my problem, and I got into a lot of problems as well. That was one part of it. But when I got to the clarity that I saw what was the problem that needs to be solved, and nobody else is doing anything about it, that's where the business school came about. And if you see, it's a Go Global Business School. I'll talk into that in a bit. Most
Yes,
important
please.
is to see, how am I living a life bigger than self? That was the first question, and I became that experiment. I'm not a trainer learning from the Google and teaching. I'm living a life, and then I share. We as a school, because we have many instructors and mentors in our network, they share their life experiences to the world. So it's like we are an experience. I'm an experiment myself. So I'm the experiment, sharing my experiment, my experience with you. Yeah.
When you're thinking of entrepreneurship and business skills, you go to a business school. That's a good idea. But you don't open up a business school on your own.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
Because again, you have just broken that ceiling of what a normal person would think. That's where I'm trying to get to, because I'm trying to think from a point of view, a homemaker. You broke that record, and then from a person that is trying to start something on her own, you break the record again and go on to creating your own business school. Why? I'm just curious, because there are well-established business schools, tier 1, tier 2, whatever, across the globe. Why the need for one more business school? And why did you think that you had something different to offer?
So this is where, Madam Gomathi, you have these shows that put the left brain and right brain at work, right? So I'm going to bring you a lot of some of the right brain stuff that happened to me. My journey in growing myself or taking care of my inner growth started with me going inside. It was a spiritual journey for me. It was me living out of a suitcase for 2 years, and without being a home. I was bedridden for like almost 2 years, and that was 2 occasions it happened to me. So I had relationship breakdowns, I had financial breakdowns, I had health breakdowns, and all of this kind of showed me at every point in my life that I need to go in. I need to keep going inside and find out what is it that I need to be doing or serving or being. Forget about everything doing first, just being. And that's when I had 2 things show up very strongly for me. So, there is such thing as destiny, and you keep asking, and this one of my mentors always say, be careful what you ask for.
Yep. You might get it.
Yes, and then you get not only it, before you get it, you get all the experience to get it. So some of the things that came up really strong for me was the 2 huge responsibility. I call it responsibility that I have been bestowed with. This word is coming to me, so I'm speaking as the word is flowing through me. So it's not my word. I'm not claim anything for it. It was bestowed on me, 2 parts of this, and it is to serve the Asian business community. So the 2 parts of it, if you look at it, one is on conscious business, learning on conscious business. What is conscious business, and how someone lives a life bigger than self, and what do the person need to go through to evolve and come out of it. So this conscious business program that kind of got me onto the journey was the Accelerated Business School, the Money and You program. So this is a business school, and of course one of my business school vision was inspired by the business school, and the Accelerated Business School is from USA. They are not a physical school, they are also a virtual school, like a virtual as in they are all around the world, and we have about 200,000 graduates. You need to take note of these numbers, because 200,000 graduates and people around the world, nobody said yes to bring the work into India yet until I showed up. And it's a 40 years in the world, by the way. They are the world's longest and leading experiential business school. So all the programs that is the program that is run, the signature program called Money and You. By the way, if I'm going to say out some names, Robert Kiyosaki was teaching Money and You for 9 years before he wrote his book, The Rich Dad Poor Dad. So these are some of the names. Tony Robbins, the mentors of Money and You were part of his journey in starting his business out and into Asia. And many other names like Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield. And also if you think about really practical businesses like the Ben and Jerry ice cream, the co-founder was in his garage when he attended the Money and You program. And the person who brought Rolex into Asia, he and a team of 200 staff attended the Money and You program. So the program of Accelerated Business School was about opening the heart and the mind to a world of possibility in conscious leadership. At a time that everybody thinks that somebody must lose for somebody else to win, this American school, people have something American, but this American school, in fact, the mentor behind the American school is Buckminster Fuller, and the teachings belong to the whole work. Actually, was put together. The founder, so the CEO, Dame Doria, is our mentor and one of the mentors of Mentor for Go Global Business School. So it's like for Asia, we're kind of holding, not for all of Asia, but we took up the mantle to say we want to serve this for India market. So we said yes, and we said this is the community that we want to create, and India is one of the market that we can open with her. So that's how conscious leadership came into our life. So conscious business learning came into my life. So that's one thing that was hanging there that was missing in the community in Asia. But what was very interesting, the other thing that was missing, that was bestowed upon me, was the understanding on capital mechanism.
Okay.
So capital mechanism, if you look at it, is everything that you would want to know how Uber went from 5 million to an $82 billion business. Has anyone told you about it?
Not how, no.
Has anybody in Asia, as I know, other than this capital mechanism school that kind of taught me, and one mentor is only one man, he teaches this for about 2,000 people already. They are all mostly Chinese business leaders. I was the only Indian and woman. For both of this, I'm the only woman and Indian in the space. So I'm asking myself, sitting down, back to the question, what is Go Global Business School? Why do we need a business school? It's a business school on conscious leadership for business owners to get into that conscious level of clarity and going into conscious capitalism. It's a very, very niche. At this moment, we don't know anyone that combines these two teachings, because when you go to capital market, it's all about money, and they would want to do anything, any business to get into the stock market and raise their price.
Yeah, whereas it's math. It's hardcore math.
That's right. So we are combining the two. Again, remember I said we walk the journey. So we said yes, and we are saying Go Global Business School, the whole work of what we are doing is walking the journey of conscious capitalism. We're going into a roadmap where we are on a roadmap for listing with Almighty's grace at $500 million market cap in the next 2 years, using technology platform as our vehicle.
Wow.
So that's what came out of Go Global Business School, because we want a school that teaches conscious leadership and conscious capitalism, creating a community that stands for the upliftment and to live a conscious life. This is not about going green. It's not about being halal, nothing like that. It's about conscious, because I have take on all of these words as well, because consciousness is a level of clarity in heart, mind, and spirit. And we do have a conscious leadership framework as well.
How easy or tough was this to start with?
I just told you I went through everything possible. So, you know, this word, and I have to say it out, which I normally will not speak about, is people will say you need to sacrifice something to achieve something in life.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the word sacrifice. It's a choice I had to make at every level of my growth or every level of my commitment. So it's a choice I chose. Some of it, whatever choice I made consciously at that time, I have to say I was going with my heart. Some of the decisions sounded crazy. I was I was taken off my family nuclear system for some time. I was, as I said, I got huge learning experiences as a trainer, a one-man show and a homemaker, having to incur a $500,000 debt. You know, it's a big one. Actually, it's more than that. But just in a nutshell. So those were experiences that taught me that at that moment, whatever decision I was making, it was going with my heart. The maximum, the best of it was going with my heart. Some of the mind games got me into big trouble. So I got to experience all of this in the financial space, and also the partners I chose. And how they showed up, and and how they so the consciousness game. Remember, I say be careful what you ask for. So the more we work on telling people you have to be conscious, guess what? We are told to move to the next level of
consciousness.
Yes.
Super consciousness.
Absolutely. So that was the journey that I had to take on, and a lot of time I mentioned to you, traveling in a suitcase. Well, to some people, I was known as a homeless, even though I had a home with my mom and my family was there. I chose to live alone, with my late husband, and so all of that was a big one for me, going through, and then doubt as a woman. What can you do? And doubt as a woman in scarf. You cannot speak too loud in public. You should be just quiet.
Not expected at all.
Yes. So those were questions asked and ridiculed, and situations where, definitely doubt was a big one. You sure you can do it? One of my mentors was so sweet. This Money in You program is a huge feat. And if I say 40 years, nobody has done it, and I was bestowed to get it done. It was like a responsibility. I brought it in, and my mentor, who had known me at that time for almost 15 years, he was in the event with me in India, and he said, "Azeeza, when you first told me that you're going to bring Money in You to India, I was like, really? She's going to do it?" He was so open with me. He said that, "Is she going to do it?" It's like, this is a big one. And when he saw that it was done, it was not me. I will never claim it as my work. It was like a divine work through me. And it's still a divine work. Everything that we do, just being an instrument is key. So this is what it is. So we had people tell me on my face that they were happy with me, but there were many others who would, want to make sure that it's difficult for me. And at many a time, that was the one that kind of told me to be myself and not to let any noise get my space.
I understand. You go through a lot of personal challenges as well down the lane, so it's not that easy. But you kept at it.
Yeah.
What do you think was the core point or core friction that made you keep going at it in spite of all the challenges?
The why. Why am I doing this? And this is not about me. It's always, it's always asking myself at a point when I feel like, no, I can't do this anymore. And then I would do all kind of funny things. I've been through depression, suicidal thoughts. It's like, I can't do this. I better give up my life. Nobody wants me. Remember, I don't belong will come in at these times at a different.
Oh yeah,
yes. And I actually, interestingly, you talked about it. I want to bring that back because that got me into seclusion for 2 years. And that was the time I was completely bedridden. Nobody knew where I was with my husband. And we're like completely away from the world for 2 years. And just my closest network could meet us because I was going through this huge healing of betrayal of business partners and all of that. So coming to the point where how I can come out of it and how I can live my life is actually knowing that, rising above to know that my why is bigger than me. And I have a purpose to serve, and I just have to do what I need to do. And also switching the way that I see the problem and the situation that's happening to me to become for me. I know many people, this is quite a cliche word right now. Instead of thinking it's to me, it's happening for me. And how I'm going to allow it to evolve when it's happening for me. And that's what, honestly, this year has been the huge breakthrough. Having been through, everybody been through huge breakthrough. This was the next level of huge breakthrough for me. It's like the ocean of abundance opening up in every aspect, be it people, health, relationships, finance, and at a whole new level. Because money is not the main focus. When I say that money is needed for business, it's not the thing that can make business happen. It's only one of the tools. It's always creation is from nothing to something. So when we already can create it, then all the things show up to make it happen for us. So that's the direction I took. So the why is the biggest one, and it got me into a space of resilience. So people know me as a Russian doll syndrome, can knock me and I'll come back. And most of the time is bigger and better and wiser, maybe. So that's been the journey for me all these years. Yeah, thank God for that.
Shine or go global do impart in terms of learning nowadays? What are you up to? What is this whole organization up to? How are you supporting?
So primarily we are into, I said, conscious leadership framework. We have a 5 intelligence conscious leadership framework that is required for every business owner to imbibe in us.
Okay.
I instead of saying intelligence, which is a very left brain word, I want to bring into you that is the 5 wisdom that we want people to go deep into themselves with. So I'm going to talk into that in a bit. So while we become evolve as a leader, we also want to, in business especially, this will get us into the clarity of building our business empire, our legacy creation in business. Many businesses, as they build, they can be in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years in business. They wouldn't know what they're going to do with their business. What is their exit planning? What is their direction? And those who have gone through after 15, 20 years, and some of our clients, tens of millions of dollars, unless they are listed, the world will tell what is their valuation. They themselves will not know. And the same thing as a non-listed company, they never look at what is the value of their business, and they are not investable or bankable. They're not able to create a legacy. Legacy doesn't mean you hand it down to your children. It could be creating a system that takes care of itself. So nobody's talking into this for businesses.
Sustainability.
No. Thriving in business.
Thriving.
Sustainability is enough. Well, we need to go through enough to reach the thriving mode for sure. I'm with you on that. The thing is, we need to think thriving, how to create abundance for self and others. So it's not about just going for listing in a stock exchange, which we also, we walk the journey ourselves. It's more to creating an investable, bankable business that becomes a legacy creation. And you want to write this down: generational wealth system.
Generational
wealth system with your business. Right? How do you create a generational wealth system with your business? And that's the direction that we can take, not just as me as an owner. I have my staff, I'm the boss, and that's a self-employed mindset. But if you think of yourself as a business owner, you will know how to leverage, create a team that will also hold stakes in your company with you, and it becomes a collective responsibility. And it eases you out. You don't become a workaholic. You don't work for money. Money will work for you because you have leveraged it to get more people, more hands. If Aziza is going to be the only person in Go Global Business School as a trainer, I have to teach and I have to go and do the sales, which is what normally all trainers do. Now we are leveraged. We have a community of conscious leaders and mentors who participate, and they will teach also. And we have, if let's say we are having a community of hundreds of people in the space. Right now, our target is to reach 1,000 conscious leaders in our space. Imagine 1,000 of them reaching out to 100 customers, 100 clients or business owners, sharing this message I just told you. We would have attracted 100,000 people, and that's the target. Our short-term target is that. Whereas for Aziza alone, you can never imagine me reaching 100,000 in my lifetime if I'm going to do it all by myself.
No. So you have just done this, created a ripple effect.
Yes,
if I may say so.
Yeah, so that's what we are doing right now in that space. Yeah.
So, for someone who's interested in your school, if he or she is walking in, what can he or she expect out of this whole program? Is it a 1 year program, or how is the support mechanism? And
So we have a tagline that says, "We take you as far as you want to go."
wow,
So who decides on it is the person walking in. So it could be
okay,
as simple as attend our Zoom events and all our free activities. We have lots of free activities going on. We
I
have an
know that.
Inspire-thon that's coming up end of this year, December 22nd, free. Come learn, come and
Mm,
experience transformation for yourself.
mm,
And if you feel like you want to go for the next, then you get on an assessment call with us. We see what is required for you. We have what
mm,
we call a business acceleration checklist that they will experience. What is it, their gap?
mm,
And then with that, we will suggest to them whether they're going to be part of an acceleration program that can lead them. Now, again, we take them as far as you want to go. If they're
mm,
ready for the next level, the three things that we do is organizational business restructuring. We go
mm-hmm,
into business connection and connectivity, because once they are clear with their organization structure
mm,
and their business offer, we give them business connections and learn how to create business connections through the
mm-hmm,
network. And
mm,
finally, the investor relationship management, which is all about creating a powerful funding ecosystem for them to grow their business. So you don't have problem for money, you don't have problem for connections, you don't have any problem, but just to focus on serving the
mm.
community with your business. So that's
Business.
the direction that we are taking right now. So I just want to quickly talk into the 5 intelligence framework that we have.
Yes, please.
So I feel that that is a learning for everyone, and this is
Mm,
as a giveaway to everybody. I call it the wisdom.
yeah,
We use the word intelligence for the corporate, so they want to, oh, what's the intelligence? Let's talk about it. But it's really wisdom, it's deep work,
wisdom.
all right? It's real
Mm,
deep work. So any human being, especially if you are in business and you are a part of a business team, by the way, everyone who is working
mm,
and doing business, you're part of a business.
yeah,
Let's be very clear about this. So you
mm,
want to own up to the that you're part of a business team. And with
mm,
that in mind, how are you growing your leadership in consciousness? So the 5 intelligence or 5 wisdom that you can
mm,
look at in the way that you're growing your business is,
mm-hmm.
number one, is to look at the way that you're growing in emotion, your emotional wisdom. People call it intelligence, but let's go deeper. What is your wisdom in your in your relationship with your emotion?
I am so happy somebody is talking about it.
At a deeper,
Oh, great.
it's a deeper
Mm,
level. So what's
mm,
your wisdom? How much are you in your head or your mind? So how connected are you as a human being with your
mm,
emotional wisdom? The second one is financial wisdom. So this is not
mm,
just about the P&L. This is not about how do I create that revenue and that profit and that fundraise, but what is your relationship with money? How
mm,
are you showing up to the world? How are you relating to money? What is your money consciousness? What's your money blueprint? What is your money conversation? How are you having access to money? So these are conversations that we have in our financial wisdom space. And the
mm-hmm.
third one is physical wisdom. As an entrepreneur, as a business leader, as having a responsibility to grow your business, how much are you responsible for your body, the vessel that you are in? Right, and we know in the Indian yogic way, the Siddha way, there's
Mm,
7 bodies, seven, we are covered in 7 areas, and the aura,
seven
and how much
chakras.
are you using that seen and the unseen bodies of yourself? This is not the entities you're talking about, but really body of yourself. How much are you
Mm,
opening up to receive? So the physical wisdom that even we
mm,
can feel it, at cellular level memories, your dis-ease of the body is caused by the dis-ease of the
it is
mind.
mind.
So how much are you relating to it and embodying it? So these wisdoms are very intertwined, as you can see. So the
They
number
are.
4, physical wisdom. Number 4 is um, spiritual wisdom.
Mm,
I just want to make sure that I say this, the last one last.
mm,
Spiritual wisdom is to go beyond what I just say, to be all inclusive
mm,
as a human, as a spiritual being living a human experience. How much are you relating to that? How are you seeing yourself one with the universe and serving your purpose as a vessel of needing for the universe? So spiritual wisdom is not about the religion. It's not
No.
about any religion. It's about the spiritual ability of yourself to be one with the universe. So that's a spiritual wisdom. And number 5, and the most important of it all for business, and many people, when they hear this word, they think it's about going green, but really it's environmental wisdom.
Yeah.
When I say environmental wisdom, it's not about, do you relate to it? And yeah, with the people who environmentalists is a big one, right? They're always looking at, oh, what's happening to the trees and the dogs and all of this, the animals. But how about the neighbor next door? Is he having his meal? How about your business? Is it pandemic proof? Will you be able to, are you able to see what's the environment for your business 10 years down the road? How much are you evolving in your space? Environmental wisdom, which is the core to all of this wisdom put together, because in business, when you take it as a life purpose, you need to have a new level of responsibility in consciousness. So that's what we share. We give experiences, not as theory, as you can feel it. I'm hoping that you are feeling these wisdoms from me, and all of the audience listening in. I'm just telling you that you are receiving this wisdom as you need it, and you just have to open yourself up to receive it. So these are wisdoms so important for business growth that nobody's talking about in the world right now. So that's the uniqueness of our Go Global Business School that embodies all of this as well. And so we're growing the human being, not the business. So we grow the human being to grow his business. That's the difference. Yeah.
Coming from India, I'm able to connect it to this logic because it connects me to the historical background of India, where our traditional education system was built on this setup. When kings and queens reigned our country, this is what was imbibed in them as as they were growing up to be kings and queens. They were expected to do this, to go and understand, go and live the life of I have heard stories of kings and queens, transforming themselves into simple beings and mixing with the civilians in their country or state, and trying to understand, gaining this wisdom. Where is the problem? Where is the pain point? In my country, what are my country people feeling? This was expected of a king and queen in our country long ago, and our traditional method of learning, yogic way of learning, uh, prepared every being to be living in this method. Somehow we lost all of it. They call it Eastern philosophy.
Yes.
We have the name Eastern philosophy. We have traditional methods, old methods, and all ancient methods.
Ancient wisdom, huh?
Ancient wisdom. But my dear people, this is how we exist today because our kings and queens did this long ago.
It's very interesting you're saying this, because I told you, my parents come from Kanyakumari in India, and I didn't get connected to the Indian wisdom space so much because of the background I grew up with, even though I watched Tamil movies and all of that. What happened to me was really going back home through the Accelerated Business School. This wisdom, this intelligence work is actually is actually something that is shown in the Accelerated Business School, the American Conscious School, which is, then they don't call it these names. My mentor, who is one of the instructors, she explained it in this name, but you will never see them talking about it this way in the school. They play games. So when my mentor saw me position this whole Go Global Business School around this wisdom, which is very interesting, like what you said, is the West people that showed me back home to our home in India, to the East. And I realized that these are the kept secrets that we just didn't know how to bring it out. And our Western friends have put it so beautifully and packaged it, and they made it really well. Like the secret is not a secret, actually. We all know that. right?
It's not a
So just
secret.
like that. Yeah. So this is what we want to say. We want to bring home the message that this is where we all belong, the fundamental of human spirit to
Mm,
make humanity work. So I
mm,
just want to, like, Yvette, we're going to like complete it in the next couple of minutes. I just want to leave
mm,
everyone with this one question that we can
mm,
ask
mm,
ourselves for any change,
mm,
for
mm,
any change to happen in
mm,
us and around us. This is a word, this is a question that we have been constantly asking ourselves, and this is what we tell everyone. It's the question from late Buckminster Fuller.
mm,
You can Google him. He's a mathematician. He's like a grandfather of the universe, as John Denver called him. He
mm,
asked us to ask this question: how
mm,
do I make the world work 100% of the time for
mm,
100% of humanity without any ecological damage or
mm,
disadvantage to anyone in the shortest time possible? If I'm going to
mm,
do everything in business, asking this question to myself or anything in my life,
mm.
can you imagine what level of change I can bring to myself and the world? So this is what we live by. This is how we have been embodying ourselves as well.
How are people agreeing or accepting to these ideals?
What do you mean?
Because the ones, of course, being an Indian, I'm able to relate to it. I am able to see from my point of view. I have heard of Ramarajyans and the stories, and I grew up listening to these stories, so it is very easy for me to map down all these points and say, hey, this is how we manage or administer any organization or institution. How easy or difficult is it for Go Global Business School to package this idea the way it is across the globe? Um,
We are standing with the Asian space.
mm,
It's not about we reaching out to the world. It's we Asians coming together as one community.
mm,
And at the same time, it's because I'm using Singapore as a base.
mm,
So I'm positioned as a Singapore business. So
mm,
we bring in a lot of logic, left brain conversation to
mm.
make it appealing, right? And palatable. And in Tamil language, you say, "Vaala palathula oosi nodikkiற மாதிரி."
Well,
So it's a very gentle injection that you put into a banana. Right? So how you can, so it's like so soft and yet impactful. So we are. That's why I said we are have a lot of education. My last 20 years, and thanks to my business partner, Mr. Ayupadas, he's behind most of the structuring of the business right now. And for the
mm,
last 20 years, my journey has been educating,
mm.
and I don't think it's going to ever stop because
No,
that's a journey.
not
So
at
our
all.
education is free, and then we've created a business model that is very different, and this a conversation we can have some other time. But it's
Mm,
very important for everyone to know that this is a lifelong journey that we are committed to. So it's
mm.
not an overnight task,
No.
but what we stand for the transformation of the people that are showing up for
Mm.
them to live and get their purpose served.
I wanted to understand how did this recent pandemic, or I cannot even say recent, it's still there with us, COVID,
Yeah.
impacting your ideals or your business as such.
What if I tell you that my partner and I,
Mm,
when the whole pandemic hit and we had all these people break down,
mm.
we had to say, "I'm sorry, I told you so."
Yeah, I think you already had this question asked when you were talking about the wisdom. Are you,
Environmentalism,
yeah,
right? So what
environmentalist?
happened is we
Yes,
literally have been talking about not the pandemic, but how to make your business go
business,
online, be global.
we global. Yes.
I'll just tell you
So,
one joke that happened. 2009,
mm,
I was interviewed in a Singapore local TV channel,
mm,
and they asked me, "Oh, you work from home? So
mm,
if I'm going to work for you, because
uh,
we know when we are traveling, we don't usually have, and those days it was just a training business and all of that. So I said, we work from home. Oh, you
yeah,
work from home? So that
huh?
means if I'm working for you, do I need to come and stay in your house and work? Ha 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 ha. This guy was making a joke out of it.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? So
Yeah.
this was in 2009. We were already talking about working from home. 2016, we were going out massively in Asia, especially in Singapore, Malaysia, at government level, speaking to the industry of the coaching and training and businesses, retail outlets to get online. And they said they don't have time. They said they are too busy. They said trainers and self-employed people, they are too busy. They don't have time to go and learn all of this. It's too much of work. And we were so hard. We really, really, our heart is with every one of them who were affected. When this hit, their life came to a standstill, and some of them were literally paralyzed for months. When I say paralyzed, emotionally, like lost as what to do. So this is something that, the pandemic is like something that has showed us that the time has come. Like our time has come. Everything that we talked about, people were like, yeah, I want that. So
Yes.
this is where we are.
So pandemic is really, helped you leverage even more what you were saying. I see
Yes.
that. I see the point. Now, for some questions from, for people who are career, oriented and looking forward to some guidance from you, some wisdom from you. How do you suggest one should go about identifying his or her own career path?
So I would always say that don't be in money slavery. That is the first thing. We are always made to compromise for whatever that we want to do in our life. And I know for a fact many people have come to clarity that money is not everything.
No.
Right? And especially when it comes to finding a job, and you want to just make sure that you fill yourself up so that this is something that you can do first, before you want to transit to what you really want to do. Let me tell you, it will never show up, because you're telling the universe this is enough and this is what you want to do. I'm not asking you to be greedy. I'm just saying get clear of what you really want to do, and be clear of what you want and ask for it. Go out there and make your connections. Don't sit behind computers or behind doors, which many people in the working industry do. They're like, I want to be an admin. It's not going to work that way anymore. A person needs to be well-rounded and grow in your leadership skill more than anything else. One of the challenges we are facing when we are engaging people is they want to do only one thing and they do not know how to handle the rest. And that is not really employable. It's not something employable at this moment in life. And the gig economy is showing up, and there are people who are so capable. So you're going to go out there and compete with not the locals. You're competing with a global audience. Like today, we were talking about engaging a full-time staff from Singapore. The lady HR, she said that, it costs you like $2,500 for a full-time staff. But if you get online, you can get an awesome 24-hour staff for maybe half of that cost. Virtual, and they can perform really well. One of our virtual assistants is doing an amazing job, and she's not even in Singapore.
Wow.
So we have a global team, by the way. So the world is our shell. The world is our playing field right now. And how do you want to show up? And of course, when the world is so big, you can get lost. So you need to find yourself back first and know what you really want. And then it's no more a push effect. You're not going to push yourself out into the world. You're going to just show up and be clear what you want, have the capability to grow yourself. And what is even if you're going to choose to just work and be part of a business team, what is the roadmap? What industry do you want to be in? I think that clarity needs to set in. That's why I say don't compromise to where you want to be at and for what is showing up to you. So create that environment and get the magnetic field to come to you. That would be the best way. I know this kind of like above, but I hope this kind of answers your question.
It's amazing. I think you also touched upon some key challenges that people will face along the line. You did touch upon that. What do you think will be the 3 most important things one should be aware of before making a commitment to a change?
Very good question. First of all, we have to know that we are committed to ourselves. The responsibility that we need to have as a human being to ourselves. No one else is there to hold you accountable. So the level of discipline you need to have, commitment to yourself, the responsibility and the discipline, and then taking action. Right? These are the three things so important for anyone to really make change happen. Responsibility, going into that space of responsibility is so crucial, and making that commitment with yourself with a highest level of discipline, which is many people struggling with, and then taking action with that.
If people want to reach out to you, how do they reach out to you, and what kind of support do you provide?
Well, for the trainers and coaches, people in the people development industry, we do have a free platform they can be part of. So I can leave you my LinkedIn profile and also our website, globalsparks.com/conscious leaders. You can actually get the details there. So you have to apply, and they can mention your name or my name to apply. So we know that they can be part of the community. And so that is a free platform. So once you come in, then you can get to know more about how we are working on this together, and all other opportunities that's coming your way as well. So yeah, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, and I really want to shout out and thank my business partner, Madam Anita Rajalakshmi, Go Global Business School.
Thank you.
COO. She is the one who made the connection for us to show up. So definitely, we can stay connected through her as well.
Do you have anything else that you want to say to this forum on change management, or anything else at all?
Well, I just want to say that we are all here to live a life filled with love, peace, and joy. And don't look for it outside. It's just in you. And just take a couple of minutes, and I'm going to let you experience how does that feel like. Are you ready?
I am.
So we're going to just very quickly use the Tamil language, which is one of the oldest language in the world. I'm going to just say a couple of words. I just want you to take a deep breath in. And we're doing this Varth for ourselves and the world, to just have yourself experience love, peace, and joy. Angu ingu yanadabadi, நீக்கமர நிறைந்திருக்கின்ற எல்லாம் வல்ல பரிபூரணத்தில் உள்ள அருட்பெரும் ஜோதியின் அன்பலைகள், அந்த அன்பென்னும் அலைகள் அலை அலையாய் நம் உள்ளம் முழுவதும் பரவி, நம் இல்லம் முழுவதும் பரவி, நம் உலகம் முழுவதும் பரவி, சாந்தியும் சமாதானமும் சந்தோஷமும் அடைய, எல்லா உயிர்களும் இன்புற்று வாழ பரிபூரண நல்லாசைகள். Wishing everybody love, peace, and joy in your life, and just live life right now at this moment, and you are blessed. Just experience it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is amazing. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
This was such a fun-filled episode. For me, it is also inspiring in the manner that a homemaker decides to switch off her TV and turn into a business leader and a founder of a business school. This is such an inspiring story, isn't it? But the learning here is her approach to the change, and the realization of the power of a woman. This is so important for all the women that are sitting there at home and wondering what I could do. There's so much out there to try and explore in life, and I think Azeeza has just opened the door into thinking new, thinking different, thinking change for your own good and also for the good of your society and the community at large. I love this episode so much, and if you also did so, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe, and also do share your comments. This is exactly how we are trying to understand each other and continue building this global community of change makers. Signing off from the GLAC studio, this is Gomathi Sankaran. Bye-bye.